What's up, cucks? It's the Hater back again with your Monday Night Raw review. 1 day late, motherfuckers. I did watch it last night after I made my other video, but I got finished at like 4, and I didn't really feel like staying up till 5 or 6 to make my video, you know, because I could record it and everything, but I have to wait for it to like convert and then I have to upload it. So I figured I would just do it today. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get to it. But before we do that, I'd like to make a couple of quick announcements now and a couple of announcements at the end of this video. Announcement 1, like we said, we're going to start talking about the subscribers, motherfuckers. I think we have more than 2 new subscribers since last video, but we're going to talk about, what's it called? The 2 that I can see here on my list. All right, so we have new subscriber Malik Brown and new subscriber Curtis Axel, motherfuckers. Curtis Axel, whose avatar is a picture of Curtis Axel. I love it. Curtis Axel is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time because he gets it. He just gets wrestling. He's not really like this great wrestler or anything like that, but he understands it, you know? He was able to get himself over so many times despite him being relegated to a jobber, so I like that. And of course, we got Malik Brown, our other new subscriber, our new friend, I should say. You understand what I'm saying? So here you go. Welcome, motherfuckers. Now I have 201 subscribers. So it's 201 and the hater, motherfuckers. The army grows stronger every day, just like I said it would. When I had 8 subscribers, I told them, I was like, one day there's going to be 100 of us. And one day there's going to be 200 of us. And here we are, motherfuckers. 201. Which for me was a big deal because that was one of my I've said it a few times, I know that, but really one of I had like 4 milestones in my head. One was get 1 subscriber, then it was get 10, and if I did that, I'd be very happy. Then if I got 100, I'd be ecstatic, and 200 was the next one. After that, it's 500 and 1,000, and then I couldn't care less. Then we're just gonna keep growing at whatever rate we want. But I'm very excited about this, so thanks to everyone that made it possible. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all my subscribers and the comments and the likes and the views, motherfuckers. So without further ado, let's get to this episode of Monday Night Raw. Man, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that it was complete garbage, but it wasn't good at all. All right, so let's get started. The first segment was Rusev and Lana signing their divorce papers. Now, insofar as stories go, this is actually a storyline, you know? But the storyline is done. All right, there's no need for this anymore. This whole like Lana being pissed off perpetually at Rusev is ridiculous. What the hell's going on? Rusev comes out there with a Donald Duck shirt, smiling, and Lana is like upset. Oh, Rusev this, Rusev that. I'm like, yo, Rusev got cucked by Bobby Lashley, right? And the paternity of his child, which is supposed to be his child, might be in question. You never know if Lana's lying or not. And Rusev is taking this very, very lightheartedly. Like in real life, if your wife leaves you for another man while she's pregnant, you wouldn't be happy wearing a Donald Duck shirt. So I'm turning on this angle, motherfuckers. I am turning on this son bitch. That's what I got to say about that. The segment wasn't anything special. They're going to have a tables match, Rusev and Lashley. So it was basically like a contract signing, but they had to sign their divorce papers. Why this has to be done on TV? Yeah, I don't understand. Like a wedding, you know, that's something that kayfabe wise you could justify. Like, oh, Stephanie and Triple H or Stephanie and Test, we're gonna get married on Monday Night Raw. That made sense because, you know, wrestling's in her blood. It's like her thing. It's like her career, her passion. So she would want to do it, you know, on Monday Night Raw. But signing divorce papers, like what's next? You know, maybe on AEW when CodyRhodes buys a house, he can sign like the mortgage papers on AEW Dynamite. That would actually be a pretty good parody of like what the fuck we saw today. That was a complete waste of time. So anyways, the only thing of note here was Rusev put Lashley through a table just to signify their tables match. It doesn't matter if Rusev wins or if Lashley wins because this feud isn't even like about Rusev and Lashley anymore. It's just Lashley's just a proxy for what appears to be a Rusev push. You see what I'm saying? Like Lashley's just there, man. Lashley should be like the focus shouldn't have been on Rusev and Lana's marriage and their relationship and their love life or their love story. It should have been on Lashley just pounding Lana out and mocking Rusev for it. That would have been a much better story. So I did not really dig this segment, but you know, in this day and age, like we have no stories, like AEW has no stories whatsoever. So you know what the hell are we gonna do, right? We'll take this for now, motherfuckers. Next, we have the first match of the night: Drew McIntyre versus Matt Hardy. Now, as soon as this match started, basically as soon as I knew who Matt Hardy was gonna wrestle, this made me think of like Drew McIntyre's first run, like his first serious run. Not the one where he was with like Dave Taylor or whatever, but the one where he came as the chosen one, right? And he became IC champ, and he was like every week on SmackDown, he was wrestling like, you know, the MVPs of the world, like the Mr. Andersons of the world, like those people, you know? But eventually he wrestled Matt Hardy. And it's very weird because it's been like 10 years and it's the same thing, except now on Raw. Like, it's the same thing. Like, Drew McIntyre's getting a push and Matt Hardy's a jobber. But the irony is that in those 10 years, Matt Hardy has accomplished so much more than Drew McIntyre in terms of, like, his career, you know, as a wrestler. He has reinvented himself. I mean, in his personal life, he's overcome drug problems and all the other shit, but he's reinvented himself. He got signed to WWE again in his, like, 40s. You know what I mean? He helped sign his brother. I mean, I'm not saying Jeff Hardy needed help or anything, but like, let's be honest, you know, the Hardy Boys were signed because of Matt Hardy's like broken gimmick, you know, if we're being real. So like, he has done so much in those 10 years that they counted Matt Hardy out 10 years ago when he was in his early 30s. You know, they counted him out. I remember they would make fun of him on SmackDown, being like, oh, Matt's like, he doesn't have time to go to the gym because, you know, he's like a full-time dad or like whatever the fuck. They were saying some bullshit, right? They were saying like, oh no, they were saying that because he's a full-time WWE wrestler, he doesn't have time to go to the gym. It's the most ridiculous burial of all time. It's like Matt Stryker, some other jobber who's also not with the company anymore, you know, when he was doing commentary. And we have him, we have Drew McIntyre. All these people were fired. They achieved nothing in WWE, whereas Matt Hardy became like a U.S. champ, like one of the best tag team guys ever, and even an ECW champion, motherfuckers. We got to give him props for that, right? So Drew McIntyre comes out and he just starts talking shit to Matt Hardy, saying like, oh, congratulations on your third kid, Matt, but we hope that the kid doesn't follow in the father's footsteps in his personal life. And I'm like, why are you doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, Matt Hardy is awesome. Like, I don't know why Drew McIntyre, I mean, I get it, I guess because he's a heel, but it didn't come off as cool or edgy. It was like, it was just stupid, you know what I mean? He was just like, oh, I hope your kids don't become drug addicts. And Matt Hardy was obviously upset at that. The match ended with Drew McIntyre winning, just like it did 8 years ago on a throwaway SmackDown, right? This will also be nothing. Drew McIntyre's career, since coming back, is mirroring his first run. It's the same thing. He's been given this like chosen one-ish character now, in the sense that he thinks he's like this big deal, right? And everyone is like complacent. And, you know, it's led to nothing. So, I mean, when Jinder Mahal comes back, if Jinder doesn't do anything, you know what I mean? Like, if he doesn't like get a push or something like that, I really see no reason not to reinstate 3B, motherfuckers. I really don't see why they wouldn't. Drew McIntyre, it's flopped. It's over, man. Like, you have to shit or get off the pod. You can't like forever be like the next up and comer. But we're gonna get to that because that's a big problem of this show and of wrestling in general. This whole like stagnated push of everybody, right? Next, we have the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, doing an open challenge. Now, my issue with this is you can call it what you want. You know, you can call it an open challenge if you want. But for the last like 8 weeks, Viking Raiders have been coming out on Raw and beating up jobbers. So are those not open challenges? Like, how are those jobbers chosen? You know, like, from my kayfabe perspective up in this, you know? But anyways, it was them versus Street Profits. I enjoyed this. The reason I enjoyed this was because the Viking Raiders beat the Street Profits as if the Street Profits were like a jobber tag team. And they're not a jobber tag team, right? They're not positioned as a jobber tag team. But the Viking Raiders defeated them, like, you know, totally, right? It was a pretty much a one-sided affair. I mean, Street Profits had their moves in there, you know, they had their offense, but it was very clear that Viking Raiders just hit their double team finish and pinned, like, I think Montez Ford, and they were the superior team. So I enjoyed the fact that one team is finally being positioned as a superior team. Like, it's not like some roll-up finish or some, like, 50-50 booking. Like, Viking Raiders are being positioned as, like, an actual tough team. Now, the problem I have with Viking Raiders, of course, is why the fuck are these guys Vikings? I don't understand at all. Like, they come out wearing these stupid helmets. Like, the one that Raymond Rowe wears, whatever the fuck his name is, Eric, I think, Eric now, has, like, blonde hair. It's the dumbest thing ever. And, like obviously their gimmick isn't that they're actually Vikings, right? Because it's not the freaking, 11th century through, I guess 11th century probably, right? It's the 21st century. So their gimmick clearly is they're two retards who think they're Vikings when they're not. It's kind of like if anyone watched Dodgeball, remember the character in Dodgeball who thought he was a pirate, right? He would go to the gym and he was just as a pirate, act like a pirate, until Vince Vaughn is like, yo, man, you're not a fucking pirate, right? And then he feels bad and says, you can be a pirate and all that bullshit, right? But the point is, it's like that. It's like, imagine if there was like a retarded person you knew who just like walked around and thought he was a Viking. That's what Viking Raiders are. Like, it's too cartoony. It's too goofy, man. Like, Street Profits are goofy, for example, but it works. It's conceivable that in the real world, two guys like Street Profits could exist. Like, obviously, Montez Ford is not like that in real life. It's an exaggerated version of a character. But someone can be like that, right? Anyways, Sami Zayn comes out on Raw. He explains that he's a SmackDown superstar, but because he's a manager now, he can go on Raw. I don't know when this rule was established that if you're a manager, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's ridiculous. It's another way to piss on the draft and piss on the brand division extension, whatever they're calling it now, right? Earlier, Kevin Owens beat up Mojo Rawley in the back. Oh, I should mention this. Kevin Owens was like looking for AOP, and he got a pipe from, From Rey Mysterio, right? And he went and beat up Mojo Rawley, slapped him in the face. So here we are now, motherfuckers. Sami Zayn and Mojo Rawley confront Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is like, I don't give a fuck. Mojo Rawley comes in there. Kevin Owens hits a stunner. Nothing really happens. This segment was garbage because Kevin Owens came out, right, looking for AOP. He was interrupted by Sami Zayn and Mojo, beat them up, basically, right? And then he left. So it's like he showed up to fight AOP. AOP's like, I don't have time for your bullshit. And then he just left. What happened to the good old, the good old promo of like, I'm not leaving this ring until I get what I want. He just came in there. He was like, come on, AOP, let's go. They didn't come out. He left. So it was a complete waste of time. Like, what? It was just dumb. So anyways, there was also a segment at some point. I'm forgetting the order that these things happened, but because like I didn't really take notes because it was really late and my phone was dead and I was charging it, so I couldn't like start taking notes and then I didn't want to screw it up. But basically, at a certain point, Rollins came out and he was telling Kevin Owens like, "Yo, let's be friends." Same shit, basically. Same shit as last week. It had nothing to do with AOP. And then like he left. So Owens was stuck essentially fighting the AOP, or so he thought, except they didn't fucking show up. Next, we had Alistair Black versus Tozawa in what feels like, I always argue that very, very few times in wrestling has there been an undercard. Like in the Attitude Era, you knew that there was people that were on the undercard, like Al Snow, Steve Blackman. These guys, they were undercard wrestlers. Like Al Snow, like the highest he was going to achieve was European title. The highest Blackman was going to achieve is hardcore title. You know what I mean? Like, Al Snow was someone that could lose a singles match to like 1999 Christian and it wouldn't be weird, right? And Christian was like Edge and Christian both, and the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys were just tag team guys. They almost never wrestled singles matches, So that level of wrestler, like Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero in the beginning, S.A. Rios, he was more of a cruiserweight, but you understand. S.A. Rios, sometimes Val Venus, D'Lo Brown, like that type of wrestler who was clearly in the undercard. The undercard wrestlers it was so clear that they were not even close enough to become IC champion, right? Like the distance between Perry Saturn and, I don't know, Chris Benoit was significant, right? Like the real mid-card guys, like the Jerichos and the Kurt Angles and the Benoits, it was evident that these guys like could one day become WWE champions, right? Maybe not all of them, but it was foreseeable that at least some of them were going to become WWE champions. Whereas you had 100% certainty, you knew that Hardcore Holly and like fucking Al Snow were never going to become WWE champions. Like it's just never was going to happen. And for a long time, this undercard didn't exist. You know, everyone was like it was just like one big mid card, right? Everyone was just a mid carder. Like that's kind of how it is now, except for the fact, and this was a long little intro to my point, but except for the fact that we have people like Alistair Black, Buddy Murphy, and Akira Tozawa who scream undercard. I don't give a shit. Alistair Black might even become champion because nowadays the bar is so low. Like stupid ass Kofi Kingston with his like, I saw it on WWE.com. It was like a picture of Kofi and like the Iconics. He's doing the iconic pose and they're holding his hair. He looked like a fucking idiot. He looked like a horse. Like they're like he's their animal, like their pet or something. This is a former WWE champion, man. This is ridiculous. Like imagine having, I don't know, Kane in like 1997 or like Mankind even. Well, Mankind maybe because he was like a goof, but like any serious wrestler, like imagine having Triple H like doing a goofy ass pose, right? And having like Trish Stratus and I don't know, fucking the Cat, right, holding his hair. Imagine that. Just imagine that. Triple H would turn around and pedigree them both, right? Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh, but Hater, like Triple H was a serious character. Kofi Kingston is kind of a goofball. Exactly, motherfuckers. It's not even Kofi's fault. It's the fact that like Kofi, by virtue of being a goofball, should not have been WWE champion. But that's neither here nor there. We have all these undercard jobbers, right? Like Alistair Black and Akira Tozawa. This just feels like the undercard. You know, I don't care who wins the grudge match, I guess, between Alistair Black and Buddy Murphy. Because I know for a fact that their next feud will be with like someone like Akira Tozawa or like a Cedric Alexander. These guys are not going to ever make it, man. They just aren't. Like, there's too many people that are better than them. So, not only that, but when you're having a pay-per-view feud with Buddy Murphy, who has had like, I think one pay-per-view match his entire life and has been relegated to the pre-show his entire career, right? I can't take this seriously. It's just ridiculous. It just screams European title for me. You know? Like, R-Truth is on the same level as these guys. But Alistair Black is like basically undefeated. I think he's lost like one or two matches in his entire WWE like stint. I think he lost to like Gargano or whoever the fuck beat him for the title. Like he lost to that person, right? Or Ciampa, I guess. He lost to Ciampa, and that's it, man. But anyways, this match happened. Buddy Murphy. Sorry. I confused them. They're the same fucking person. Alistair Black versus Akira Tozawa. Tozawa did his little moves. Alistair Black hit the Black Mass. Akira Tozawa sold it very well. Alistair Black wins. He's wrestling Buddy Murphy at TLC, which is coming in like, I think this Sunday. You know, probably out of all pay-per-views of all time, this is the one that has snuck up on me the most. You know, like, what the fuck? TLC is coming? TLC is around the corner? It's because everyone's a mid-carder and there's nothing to actually look forward to, you know? But it is what it is. So, next up, we had Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade. Right? The storyline of this match seemed to be like at some point, I must have missed this, but at some point, like Humberto Carrillo was talking to like Zelina Vega and like he was being gentlemanly with her because he's a gentle sir, you know? And like, what's it called? Andrade didn't really enjoy the fact that he was being friendly with his manager, right? They had the match. The match was a complete piece of shit. Andrade tried to carry this jobber as much as he could, but even Andrade, someone as great as Andrade, can't do it. Andrade has that move. It's like the Judas effect that Jericho does, where he kicks the guy's arm, right, and then spins around into an elbow. It's awesome. I love it. It's better than the Judas effect, right? And it just looks vicious, right? So he hit that on Humberto Carrillo. That should have been it, in my opinion. That move is like should be a finisher, but it's not. But anyways, eventually Humberto Carrillo charges towards the ropes. Andrade moves, and then Humberto's about to hit Zelina, but he stops. Andrade then tries to hit Humberto from behind. Humberto moves out of the way. Andrade doesn't stop and hits Zelina, and then Humberto does like this like exaggerated pin, basically. He like hops on his shoulders and then rolls forward into like an O'Connor role, but like the other way around, you know. And after the match, Andrade and Zelina have like some dissension, you know. Like Zelina's like, everything's fine. Andrade's like, he's angry at her, like she cost him the match, you know. And she's like, what the hell? She starts yelling, right? So clearly they're gonna go with some like storyline here. Maybe Humberto Carrillo will like steal Zelina Vega from the evil Andrade, which might actually be a good idea because then maybe they can have like what's it called? Humberto Carrillo be released once they realize that this guy sucks ass. So anyways, that happened. Then for the third jobber match of the night, actually the fourth jobber match, actually all of them have been jobber matches, right? Buddy Murphy versus Zack Ryder. Enough said, motherfuckers. Buddy Murphy hits like a little bicycle knee, then the Murphy's Law and wins, after also beating up Kurt Hawkins on the outside. Complete waste of time. None of this will mean anything in 3 weeks. Buddy Murphy won't mean anything in a few months. So anyways, next up we had Becky Lynch versus the women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors, who I believe have, new music. This match was actually all right, motherfuckers. I actually like watched part of it and I enjoyed it, you know. But I didn't enjoy it for the reasons that one might think. I enjoyed simply from like the storyline perspective because there's actually a story here. Like clearly the Kabuki Warriors are going to wrestle Becky and Charlotte for the tag belts, right? So they wrestled Charlotte 2-on-1 last week, and now they wrestled Becky 2-on-1 this week. So I'm thinking to myself, this is actually interesting because they're creating a story, right? They beat them individually, and now it's like, can they beat them one-on-one, right? So, can they beat them in a tag match? So, the only problem I had with this match was that two problems. Number one, it went on too long, and Becky Lynch was booked too strong. Way too strong, motherfuckers. Way too strong. Because, Becky Lynch, I understand. She's like she's like a hot shit now. I totally get it. But the facts are what they are. You know what I mean? She's still one person in a 2-on-1 match against the tag team champs. Furthermore, Asuka, remember when Asuka was like just destroying people left and right? Like she would make someone like Becky Lynch tap out in like 2 minutes, right? What the hell happened? You know, now Asuka can barely beat someone with a partner? It doesn't make any sense, man. So there's that. Also, I think technically Becky Lynch won this match because Asuka and Kairi Sane hit her with a chair. And then Kairi Sane did an elbow from the turnbuckle to the outside onto a table, and it was sick. The table broke in 3 pieces. It was awesome how the table broke. I really enjoyed that. But, again, nothing to kill yourself over, but it is what it is. Then we had Eric Rowan up in this bitch with his little cage thing. It's been like 4 weeks now, man. Like, I don't understand why they even draw these things out. Like, why are you drawing this out? Like, who gives a shit about Eric Rowan's cage thing? Like, whether you revealed the day, like week 1 or week 4, no one's gonna care. It doesn't add any, anticipation. Nobody really gives a shit about this. So that's what I have to say about that. Eric Rowan beats up a local guy who was gonna use the cage thing as a mental weapon against Rowan. So Rowan just hits the Iron Claw on him like 4 or 5 times, and he wins by match stoppage. Next, main event, motherfuckers. U.S. champ. Ray versus AJ Styles, motherfuckers. So, let me tell you something about this main event, right? First of all, let me make a list of all the Hispanic wrestlers that they tried to fashion and create and make the next Rey Mysterio or the next big Hispanic draw, right? Or I guess maybe the next Eddie Guerrero, depending on how you look at it. So Rey Mysterio has always been number 1, right? Then we had Sin Cara, fucking Kalisto. What's the 2 other ones in Lucha House Party? Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. Del Rio. Eric Escobar, motherfuckers. Remember him? Who else do they have? That's 6 right there that I have at the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. But the point I'm trying to make, and now of course there's more. Andrade, Humberto Carrillo, these other nerds, right? Except for Andrade, he's not a nerd. Think about that, motherfuckers. Think about how many times WWE has tried to create a new Rey Mysterio. And who do they end up relying on? Rey Mysterio, motherfuckers. That's what I gotta say about that. Enough said. Rey Mysterio is one of the best of all time. And you don't need to find other wrestlers to attract the Hispanic viewers because everyone loves Rey Mysterio, whether they're Hispanic or not. So recognize WWE. Main event. The match was all right, you know, like there was a big botch where Rey Mysterio was going to do like a top rope Hurricane Rana and AJ was supposed to counter into a Styles Clash, but they kind of fell off the turnbuckle. Ultimately, AJ Styles hit a Styles Clash anyways, and he went for the pin, but Randy Orton came in and didn't do anything. Right, just distracted him. AJ Styles distracted enough, Rey Mysterio pins him with a small package. Oh my God. Talk about mid-cardery. Now, AJ Styles could have been made into a legit main eventer because he was WWE champion for like a year. You know? But despite that, despite being champion for over a year, he has been relegated to go wrestle for the US title. What the fuck, man? There literally are no main eventers. Everyone is going after the US title. Like, does anyone have any interest in wrestling Brock Lesnar? You know? Does anyone even want to do that? No one, apparently. No one's like, I want a title shot. Why not? It doesn't make any sense, man. So that's what I have to say about that. And now, let's get to the real, we'll call it the real main event here, the real point of the show. At a certain point, Kevin Owens finds AOP's little, like, car that they came in, right? He goes there, attacks it with a pipe. He opens like the back of it, like the trunk kind of, but you know, it's like a truck type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like a big SUV. So the trunk is one of those like hatchback door type things, right? He opens that and there's a person. He tries to grab the person. Before he can, he gets ambushed from behind by AOP, who whoop his ass. They had this one little spot where Rezar grabs the guy and throws him. He grabs Kevin Owens and throws him against the door, while Akam slams the door into Kevin Owens' head. This was just brutal. It looked great. It looked like something that two people that really are a team would do, you know? So that was awesome. And then the door is still open. The camera zooms in there. And then this hooded figure comes out. And automatically everyone who's not retarded knew it was Rollins. No need to have any kind of suspense. It was Rollins all along, motherfuckers. Then Rollins says something generic like, it was me all along, or like, I had to come to this, Kev. And he does the curb stomp on Kevin Owens, right? There was a point after that where I thought that, because he was standing in the middle and they had like AOP to his left and right, like I thought that maybe they were going to do a little shield thing where they stick their fists out. That'd have been nice, but they didn't do that at all. So that's what I have to say about that, motherfuckers. That, like, again, it's a storyline. It's a heel turn. Normally, I'd be okay with it. But the problem is still the same problem, man. There's still mid-carders. Kevin Owens is a mid-carder. When the fuck did Kevin Owens become a serious wrestler all of a sudden? This guy, like, he hasn't been in the title picture for years. He's been gone. He's been shooting for, like, the IC title. He's been shooting for the US title. This guy's a mid-carder. Seth Rollins, apparently a mid-carder too. He can't even beat the Fiend. You know what I'm saying? So, overall, the episode of Raw, like, if viewed in a vacuum, it was not a bad Raw. But if viewed in the context of modern wrestling, where there are no main eventers and everyone's a mid-carder, it was a mid-card show, motherfuckers. That's what I have to say about that. Now, before I leave y'all's up in this piece, I'm going to say one thing. So, very soon, I'm going to announce when I'm going to do my Q&A, motherfuckers. So get your questions ready. And in addition to questions, pick a topic for me to rant or to hate on, because I'll be doing that in the same video. It will be called the first ever Hatermania, motherfuckers. Hatermania and Q&A. So look forward to news about that. And more importantly, since I'm doing the Monday Night Raw review, but it's Tuesday, motherfuckers, look forward to tomorrow, Wednesday Night Wars. You got it, bitches. I don't think I'll be able to watch both shows, nor will I watch them live because one of my friends is moving out of state, and we're doing a little goodbye thing for him. So we'll see when I get back home. I'm never going to watch it tomorrow night, but we'll see how it goes. All right, motherfuckers. Thanks a lot. Welcome to my two new friends, Malik Brown and Curtis Axel, and whoever else subscribed today. So, yeah, now go fight yourselves and get ready for AEW and the circle jerk that will ensue, motherfuckers.